Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to our latest episode of Snack Talk. We're very fortunate to have one of our administrators here today, the one and only Dr. Middagh, ladies and gentlemen. I like to call her Doc.
Thanks. That works for me.
Alrighty then. Well, I want to thank you for giving some time today. How are you guys' busy schedule? I know admin has a lot on their plate these days, but thank you so much for devoting some time for us. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. I always got time for you guys.
All right. Now the first question is always, what do you got going on? Because it's Snack Talk, what are you eating today?
What am I eating today? I have been munching all morning. So I started with coffee, and then I went to some chips and salsa, and now I'm munching on some grapes.
So I'm trying to do the fruit scale myself. I had some plums. I got them today. It's pretty sweet. And of course, all my students know about this. And then our water. Stay hydrated out there. It's still hot outside, so.
Yes, it is.
Alrighty. All right, let's go ahead and get underway then. Some of our general questions we have for everyone. All right, so you didn't start off at North, and like most people, everyone has some type of path that they take coming to our campus. Where'd you start off at? What was your path like? What did you do?
So actually my background was not initially to be a teacher when I was in college. I actually started off in pre-veterinary medicine and applied to schools, couldn't get in. So I was actually in Air Force ROTC at the time and wanted to be a pilot as kind of one of my hobbies. However, during that time frame, women weren't allowed to be combat pilots still. So my major was political science and weather, meteorology. And so with that, didn't want to do military without being able to fly. So I ended up running into one of the education leaders at ASU, Dr. Ince, and she sat me down and we had lunch. And next thing you know, I decided to do some interning with educators and fell in love with high school. Didn't have much fun in elementary, but fell in love with high school and took a bunch of extra classes and ended up passing. And so moving on to the next step was student teaching at actually Paradise Valley High School. And I was a student of Paradise Valley School District, and so near and dear. And so that's where I started my career, and I taught actually English language learners initially at the time, and moved into social studies. And then throughout my career, I was in PB district and Peoria district, but I've taught everything except math. I've even taught AP physics. Mr. Lopez taught this. Yes, I have taught physics. So, but I love teaching. It's a joy and a passion of mine, and I look forward to coming to work every day and helping make students' lives easier and teachers' lives easier. But I ended up in Phoenix Union because I did a brief shadowing with Mr. Camp over at Trevor Brown, and when I was there, I fell in love with the students and the teachers, and then applied for some administrative jobs and ended up here at North, which was meant to be because I now bleed blue and red. So, love it.
Beautiful. As an educator, what were some of the programs or things that you ran, were part of?
Oh gosh, let's see. I was a Stugo advisor. I was also a sophomore class advisor. I ran DECA, FBLA, FCCLA. I did the internship program as well for our advanced CTE students. I've taught business. I've taught FACS. What other programs? I was an athletic director in my previous high school. I coached a state championship in girls basketball. I coached volleyball, track, a little bit of defensive line football. I also helped out with swim. Never formally coached swim, but spent a lot of time coaching student athletes, but then ran a bunch of clubs, started up a recycling program, an environmental club when I was in high school, probably one of the first ones, because that was back before the dinosaurs. So what else have I run? Gosh, I've kind of done a lot of things. So been heavily involved in a lot of things. I love doing student activities, love athletics. I think the extracurricular piece is really what attaches kids to school and teachers to school and gives them that extra bit of personality that you really see come through. So that's why I'm, here.
All right. So you've had pretty much both worlds, in a sense, both, as an educator in general, being a teacher and administrator. So let's talk about some of those moments that you probably would have had. All right. First as a teacher, though, all right? First as a teacher, what was your favorite moment that you can remember when you were in the classroom?
My favorite moment in the classroom as a teacher probably was when, well, there were several, but one that really sticks out to me the most is I had started up working with students that were struggling with attendance. And so because of attendance, we had block scheduling and they were behind. So we had started a program for credit recovery. And I had a mix of sophomores through seniors, and I had this one senior young man, and his name was Sal, and he just could not get to school. He just could not get to school on time. And so it was kind of like, everybody else had the bell, and then we had our own bell in class that was Sal's bell for him, to be there on time. And I remember that he kept joking with me that he was going to be, on time. And so I was actually pregnant at the time with my first son, and we were going through the process of trying to get him on track to graduate and get him, applied to go on to college or trade school and get him his credits. And he had like a, 2.5 GPA at that point. But it was the week before I had my son, and I kept telling him, I'm like, I'm going to be gone, Sal. We got to get you caught up. And that week he showed up every single day on time. That week he got finished, and he passed his English 7-8 class, which was a competency exam, and he passed like 2 other math classes. And I remember then I was out then with my son. He came and visited me at the hospital. And then when I came back for graduation, he's going down the ramp after being, having his name announced. And like, he literally ran up and jumped on top of me and hugged me and tackled me to the ground. But he was just crying and tears in his eyes. And we were all just crying and hollering because, his teachers were super excited that he graduated. But it was one of those moments where it truly took a village, and we got there and we got him through. And I still talk to him today. He's, proud papa and married and doing really well, owning his own business. So that was one of those awesome moments, because it was just like the whole week, the whole class, everybody were all just cheering him on. So
that's pretty cool, actually.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's talk about the dark side here. The administration part. All right. Being an administrator, you see a lot of different things than we ever see as a general teachers. So therefore, what has been the weirdest moment that you've had as an administrator?
Oh gosh, probably the craziest moment. Gosh, I would have to say probably one of the strangest things that ever happened as an administrator. Well, there's several. There's a lot of things that obviously we handled to try to keep off of teachers' plates, right? But probably the weirdest one that has ever happened to me that had an outcome that was positive was we were working through restorative justice and bringing it onto our campus. And so we had a peer mediation class at the previous high school I was at, and the students were working through peer mediation, and we did we had court and stuff like that. So the kids all handled, kind of police themselves. And we had these 2 young ladies that we mediated that were they were gonna end up fighting. And so through mediation, every day that week, our class met with them and we worked through an agreement, and it was a restorative approach. Well, it was funny because the Monday after all of that went on all week long, I get a call to come to the front desk or front office area, and these 2 ladies are standing out there and they're arguing back and forth and yelling at each other. And our front receptionist, she's like, they want to talk to you. And I'm thinking, oh gosh, I don't want to go out there because they're already, mad and angry. And so I walk out and introduce myself, and they're like, you're that lady. And I go, the lady that does what? Because I don't want to get blamed for something, Yeah. And they're like, you're the lady that talks to the kids so that, they don't fight. Because our daughters were, talking. So then I understood the connection. And so they're like, well, we've been in an argument since Friday afternoon because of what she put on social media and what she put on. And they're going back and they're like, it's turning into a neighborhood argument. So can you sit us down and mediate us and, put us through that restorative stuff that you all do? So I did. I took them back and had them in my office, and they signed an agreement and went through the whole mediation process, and they were super grateful. But it was kind of one of those weird moments of, okay, I should be excited that this is transitioning to home, but then, I'm mediating two adult lady moms, and they were sent me a card later on and said they were super grateful. So it was kind of cool. But yeah, that's probably the weirdest thing. Like, parents showing up. It's like, can you settle this for us? So yeah, but it's fun. I love doing it. It's like problem solving every day.
Well, the first lessons are learned at home, so sometimes we got to educate the educators.
Yep.
Right, that's what I'm saying in that scenario. That sounds like an awesome story, by the way.
Yeah, more goes home than we realize, right? With our students.
Definitely. So. All right, let's go and start talking about North in general here. You've been here for at least a couple of years now. What are some things that you truly love about North?
What are some things that I truly love about North? First and foremost, our admin team and the way we work together is awesome. And so, just having that camaraderie that we have and being able to just kind of help each other out in different ways. But really, my first experience at North was working with the ILs and the teachers, and then also the students. I mean, the students are awesome here. The teachers work hard with the kids. I love walking up and down the hallways and just, greeting teachers at the door when classes are changing. Ironically, I loved doing the, working at lunchtime and monitoring the hallways and working with the kids on, why they're hanging out in hallways and connecting with them. I really think that a lot of our kids, just want to have conversations with adults so that they can talk about life. And, it's not necessarily they want the advice, they just want a place to talk. And I find that true with the teachers. I loved working with the IL team when I first came on board. Lots of new ideas, lots of open-mindedness, and they worked through a lot of challenges that we faced as a school and a community. But, nothing gets done here without, having conversations with others about it. And I love that, being able to collaborate piece. So yeah, I think that's probably one of the biggest things is just that and the tradition that's at North. Like there's that underwritten sense of pride, I think, that kids that have, talking to kids, it's like, oh, my grandpa went here, or, my parents went here, that kind of thing. And so I've never been in a school that's had that much, I guess, rotation of tradition through it. So that's unique to North. That's what I like.
So we've pretty much seen things change rapidly, since a year. And for you, you have a new position as our, APO. With your new position, what has been the challenges that you've had to overcome?
So I would have to say that probably the biggest one is the fact that we haven't been at school. So announcing that I went from API to APO on campus, I still have teachers and students reach out to me as an API rather than the APO. So that's been a little bit of a challenge in reminding people, because I didn't move offices. I stayed in the same office. So when everybody comes back, that might create some confusion. But I think for me personally, the biggest transition has been to get my mind into activities and athletics and out of instruction. And so looking at the students from the lens of the extracurricular again, instead of just in the classroom, and expanding that. Obviously, because we're virtual, getting the clubs and the athletics going, and those types of things has been, a different challenge that, we can't really reach out to a mentor or somebody and tap into and say, hey, how have you experienced this? Because we're all going through this together, right, for the first time. And then I think that, the other piece of it is just, coming up with new ways and trying to think outside the box. Our coaches are really great about knowing what to do and how to reach out to the kids, but in supporting them and trying to help them think outside the box and come up with creative and unique ways to connect with our students during this time. But then also the same thing with our club sponsors and just, getting all of that organized. And, the learning curve for me has been big. And so I know with them, because we're virtual, the learning curve has been big. So, growing together and understanding that. But they've all been really super patient with me. So I've been grateful for that.
That's good. Alrighty. Well, with the new position, you probably have a whole set of goals, things you want to accomplish for this year. You kind of touched base about some of that. What are some of your other goals that you have for this year with your position?
So one of the goals that I set is to get at least 75 or 3/4 of our students actively involved in either a club or a sport or both. And so looking at, because I'm a data person, looking back at numbers and really sharing with our coaches and our club sponsors, past rosters, things like that, if they come on as freshmen and we lose them as freshmen. So in other words, let's say, for example, they start volleyball as a freshman or basketball as a freshman, and where does that student go if they don't stay on the roster for freshman basketball, right, to JV, to varsity, or in the club, maybe they're showing up in the club and then they stop coming. So working with problem solving to make sure that if it's interest level for the student, or if there's a reason behind that, what is that? And if they change their mind, are they going to a different club or a different sport? Because I really want them to stay involved. So that's one of the goals. And then the other goal, I think, is to just empower our teachers and our coaches to have a community in which, working together and spreading the school spirit, a student athlete leadership council, which we talked a little bit about, the ICC, making sure that all of that is rolled into one piece. So it's one big community that's the student driven. So it's making those decisions. And I really want a lot of the ideas for our student spirit and our athletic programs and things like that to come from our students. I know, Stugo, you guys do a lot with that, but, get our student athletes involved in that, as well as our club sponsors a little bit more, so that it's more of like a regular type setup, if that makes sense.
Makes sense.
But and I think the other piece is really to look at faculty and encourage them to come up with, because we all live in such different areas around the valley, that come up with a more uniform way to, if we have an event on campus, that teachers stay and staff stays to support kids with either the athletics or their club events that they do. So those are some of the things that I set goals as this year. So
we are looking forward to events this year on campus.
I know. It's
if it's limited people or whatnot. I mean, so we're looking forward to bringing the event to people at home. So
yeah, and
we're
you
definitely
guys have been
looking forward to
awesome doing that so far. So just expanding what you're doing and hopefully get to in person.
The last part we always have is the open floor. So if you could say anything to the students, staff, and community at North High School and give them some type of message, what's something that you want to say to everyone today?
I would probably say that, we've been through a lot over these last few months, and, stay strong, stay resilient. And if you don't have that and you are having those days where you don't feel that you have that strength, then, lean on each other and don't be afraid to pick up the phone or shoot that email. And if you, are sitting at home right now, because we're all virtual, right, or at school, isolated, but if you've got someone who has done something kind for you, reach out and show that gratitude, because you never know how it might make someone's day. But I think probably the big three are be grateful for the things that have come about because of the challenges that we faced as a community, but also don't be afraid to lean on one another.
All right, beautiful.
Yeah.
All right,
I miss you guys. Miss y'all.
Yeah, I want to say I think we're all in the same boat with missing people these days.
Yeah.
But I do want to thank you for your time today, and all for the good words to share.
Thanks.
All right, and thank you very much, and for everyone at home, make it a great day, Mustangs.
Thanks, Adam. Thanks, Stugo, for all you guys are doing. Really appreciate it. Bye, Mustangs. Have a great day.